Mary, you were saying that you did have something from your life that you could talk about.
Yeah, well, just got engaged in February, and I don't know, I guess it's weird thinking of getting married, especially right now because I'm in school and it's like really stressful thinking about like getting school done, finding a job, planning a wedding, and then just like being married, like versus single, which I've been up till now, so.
Yeah, so you're happy about it, but it also brings like maybe nervousness. It's like that on top of all these other changes in your life right now too.
Yeah. Especially like this week because finals are coming up and my mom has been bugging me so much like, have you decided on this? Have you done that? You know, you gotta get this done. I'm like, come on, like not a priority right now. Like, do we have to decide this today? Because we actually set the date already for next May. So I literally have over a year to plan this thing, but everyone's like, well, have you gotten this done? Have you done that? Like food and who's going to be in your wedding party? And what are your colors and everything? And it's like, I don't know.
So that's a part of it, is like a kind of a, I guess, a tension between you and others in your life, is it? You're knowing you have plenty of time, and you could just focus on finishing the semester. But to others, they're like, lots of questions. When this, what that?
Yeah. Like I have 2 other friends that are getting married this year. And so they're all excited and they are like texting me, calling, like, oh, don't you love all this wedding planning? And I'm like, no. They're like, I'm so excited. I'm like, well, good for you. Like, right now it's not, like I said, a priority.
So at least with where you're at right now and school in your life too, it's kind of like you're not having the reaction that they think you're supposed to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes I feel like, am I weird? Like, is that wrong to not like be all girly about it and like giggly and like, oh, I've been dreaming of this since I was like 2, and
Yeah.
because I haven't, like, I've never been that way. So I don't know. I feel like people want me to be that way, but I'm not.
So it's kind of like, you know, it's about the wedding and your time now, but it sounds like for you it's also about how do people see how you should be versus how you see how you should be. Well, you're okay with it.
Yeah, and that's definitely been a theme, like, for a long time. It's like, as far as getting married, like, me and Joe have been dating for 6 years. So a really long time. So, I mean, it's not about, like, the commitment or anything as far as getting married. And actually, up until 2 years ago, I never wanted to get married, never wanted to have kids. Like, that, if I had a conversation with myself 2 years ago, she'd be like, what? It's so different from what we expected. So, I don't know, it's just, like, I'm happy and I'm doing it and I think it's good. Like, if my ideas on it have changed, but not like, I don't know, part of me is still thinking, I can't believe I'm doing this. I thought I would never, like, get married and do, like, the family thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, you like it, I know that part, that kind of unstable part. But it's also, it's not what you expected for yourself, not how you saw yourself, all growing up.
Yeah, grown up. I guess I don't feel like a grown up yet. You know, like I went straight from undergrad to grad school, so I've never like really had that time to go out and work and do like the 9 to 5 adult life in a way. So I guess it doesn't really seem real right now anyway.
So that was, I was thinking about like how what you're doing now is not how you'd seen yourself in the past, and I just happened to use the word grown up. And so So that kind of took your mind to, yeah, you don't really feel grown up.
I guess just like getting married and being grown up. Well, one thing, it's always kind of been linked in my head. And then, like, all my siblings got married later than me, I guess. So part of me is like, am I too young, or is this, I guess, that whole what I should be doing kind of thing, or is it? But then also, I guess, it's whatever I want because it's my life. But I don't know. I guess it's kind of a conflict there. Yeah.
So, I mean, I get that there's some things that you feel a little uneasy with your decision, like compared to your siblings, because if it was older for them, then does that make you too young? At least that was one of the things that kind of has you. I almost want to say unsure, but I don't think that's what you're saying. It's just like uneasy with not settling into your decision yet.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm definitely sure. Because even if I weren't getting married, I would still be with Joe.
Yeah.
Like that's never been a question. Like with him or not with him. It's just with him and married, or with him and just a long-term commitment. You know. So I don't know. I guess I don't know why, but I've just had, I guess, a bias against marriage for a while. And so I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around it. But I also see the benefits now. It's confusing.
Yeah. So you start off telling me that definitely sure, because you and Joe have been together quite some time, and you know y'all would be together one way or the other. The part that's one of the parts that's kind of different for you is you were really kind of opposed to marriage, and something changed.
Yeah. I remember when one of my friends, well, it was in undergrad, and one of my friends and her boyfriend for April Fools pretended to get engaged and stuff, and I was like, why? I was just like, why would you ever do that? And I don't know, I felt really strange, and I was like, okay, congratulations. And then I was like, I don't really want to talk to you for a little while I digest this. And I mean, it was a joke, but I still remember that. Yeah, so it was okay. But I mean, I don't know if it was because it was marriage or because I just thought that they weren't right for each other. But I still remember that feeling, just like, whoa, like that's a big deal. And I can't believe they're gonna do this and having thought this through, and questions, I guess.
So that's kind of an example for you of where you've been at least not in favor of marriage. And it seems like mostly the reason I hear in that for why you'd be against it or not in favor of it is that it's such a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I feel like it is, I don't know, made to be bigger than it is, because, I don't know, like hundreds of years ago were people getting married, or were they just kind of together, and now it's this big, like almost like a political party, you know, like like family politics, I guess is what I'm saying. You know, like I feel like especially in the South, you know, you got to be married if you're gonna have kids or have sex or anything. So it's like, I don't know, the family politics involved with like marriage versus just like cohabitating. I don't know. It's a lot of pressure, I think, to make it work. or not, because I think divorce is really common these days. So I guess it's not as big of a deal to make it work, but to start it.
So some back and forth thoughts for you. I mean, part of why it's feeling to you like marriage is a bigger deal, or such a big deal, it's like all the kind of politics that'll be involved in marriage, but maybe more the wedding, that part.
Yeah.
But then the other part was really that, I don't remember if this is exactly the words you said, but I guess basically that it's so permanent. But then you're kind of back and forth on that because you're like, well, but then there's
Not
divorce.
really.
It's pretty common.
Yeah. And I guess one part of it too that still sticks with me is like, I guess the gender roles too. Because I remember when me and Joe were just, I think we'd been dating like 2 or 3 years. I could say early on, but I mean, that's still not really like early.
Yeah, it was a long early on.
Yeah. But like we were talking about maybe getting married in the future and like the idea of like taking his last name. And I was like, I don't really want to do that because I think it's kind of sexist in a way. Because I was saying, you know, if the symbolism behind it is you're starting your own family and your own unit, why would you take the guy's name? Why wouldn't you just like make up your own name? You know, if it's truly like a new start. And then I guess I was actually like, one of the things that changed it, or I guess my perception of it, is I had a conversation with a friend of mine kind of about the gender roles and like, I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom and like be considered like he's the primary caregiver and stuff like that because I've never been that way. And my friend said, you know, just because that's the norm doesn't mean that has to be your norm. Like you don't have to be like the typical breadwinner husband and stay-at-home wife or like trophy wife and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. But there's still that, I guess, inner feminist in the back of my head, like, are you gonna lose something?
So you're definitely not wanting to lose parts of you. Not sure what those parts are, but parts that you might lose from being in what you see as kind of like a recessive role. I don't know, but at least to stay at home and be the primary caregiver to the child. Definitely not what you're thinking. So, it sounds like where you've gone in your mind is, that's okay. You can be married and don't have to do those things. But still, there's like a little nagging, I like your term, the inner feminist, nagging that's saying, but maybe you're giving up some things.
I don't know what they are though, like, which makes me think that I'm not giving anything up, but I still feel like I am. But I don't know what.
So you get this feeling that you are, but along with that, you kind of intellectually, the way you reason it is, well, if you can't think of what it would be that you'd be giving up, then maybe there isn't much, or isn't anything.
And I've actually had this conversation with Joe, and he's just like, I wouldn't ask you to give anything up, and I'm like, I know you wouldn't ask me to, and he was also telling me, you know, I'll be a stay-at-home dad, I don't care, we can do whatever works for us, and I'm like, it's not, I don't know, it's not his lack of support or our relationship, I guess it's just being in a relationship in general, or like a marriage or union. I mean, you do have to make compromises if it's gonna work. I mean, sound selfish, but sometimes I don't want to make like I don't want to give anything up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't, and you're all right with that. You're not sure if it sounds like what you're supposed to say, but you're all right with it.
But I mean, I also don't want to be alone for the rest of my life. Like, so it's like, I don't know. I feel like that's something that everyone struggles with.
Not being alone.
Yeah. Versus, you know, making compromises to stay with someone that you love.
So you're kind of thinking it's like, well, I want to go back to the one part you said, just in case it's important to say it out loud, that you know, you and Joe talked about it directly about this, and it sounded like that was confirming for you, for y'all to talk about it out loud and say, yeah, neither one of us is saying it has to be that way. You know? So I kind of wanted to acknowledge that part, but then you're also saying, but you will have to give up some things, just because you're knowing that you do in a relationship. I guess your kind of last thought there was, well, okay, so you have to give some things up, but kind of like going, and that's much better than being alone, growing old alone.
Yeah. I mean, definitely prefer that to be alone. You know.
Yeah.
Doing things that.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
I guess, I don't know, because I know he's given stuff up. Because, I mean, he moved here so I could finish school before he, like, starts. Like, he didn't really want to come here. But I kind of gave him an ultimatum, I guess, because we were long distance for a year, and that sucked. I didn't like that at all. And then for grad school, he would go out of the state, so it would be even farther away. And I was like, I'm not going to do that anymore. But then also, I'm not going to leave school halfway through. So, I mean, I kind of didn't give him a choice but to come here or break up. And neither of us wanted to break up, so he came here. So, I mean, that's a big sacrifice for him. And I'm just like, one day. Like, what am I gonna have to sacrifice like that? Yeah. But it has worked out for him. Like, he's actually gonna go to school here. He got a free ride, which I'm jealous of. But I mean, it was hard for him because it wasn't what he expected to do either. Like, the path his life would take. It's like me either. So it's very different from what both of us individually expected our relationship in the future to look like. Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's bad.
We've got about 5 minutes till we stop today. Yeah, I guess the part I get from what you're telling me there was, think about these compromises that you will have to make in the future. And it sounds to me like part of where your mind goes then is, and you see that y'all are already making compromises now to be together.
I guess it's kind of, I mean, it's been okay so far. But
So that was what that meant to you, I think, was that if y'all are already making compromises now, that it's like your thought was, and that's okay. But then I think you kind of ended with, I don't know, because I think we're back to, and there are these unknowns.
the unknown. It'd be great to know it all.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen.
You'd kind of like to, but it doesn't work that way. So, well, maybe we're kind of at a stopping point there. We'll go ahead and stop here.